Throw the slack, you fucking moron!
Hello, and welcome to Screen Share, a movie podcast where two anxious whites talk about another anxious white. My name's Calder.
I'm Adam.
In this episode, we're talking about Punch Drunk Love.
Whoa!
The fourth film from American director Paul Thomas Anderson, who is one of my favorite directors. Let me talk a little bit about why I picked this movie.
Sure.
Then we'll get into some general thoughts, and then it'll be over.
Yeah, this one's going to be 12 minutes.
I picked this movie, number one. The other three for this month, Dune 1, Dune 2, and the Seattle Mariners documentary, are much too long.
Yeah.
I admit that, okay? Hey, everybody, I admit what I've done.
And I appreciate you throwing me and our listeners a bone by choosing one that's a quick 90 min.
This is one of those ones where you're watching and you're like, oh, it's over.
Yeah, but not in a, oh, it's over?
Yeah.
Way more in a, oh.
Mm-hmm. Exactly the intonation I said it with.
Yeah. Well, I watched this with Olivia. She'd not seen it before, which is
most people haven't.
Yeah, which is interesting. I hadn't seen it until you showed it to me,
like
and then
2 years ago?
Now watched it again now for this.
Interesting way of thinking about time.
Yeah. But I watched it with Olivia, and there was a point where we had to pause it because it was like buffering, so I was trying to fix it. And she was like, oh, there's like 20 minutes left. And I was like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I thought we were like halfway. And I was like, no,
it moves quickly, and it's like, and it's also just short.
And it's, if you don't mind me saying, good.
Yeah, it is. It is good. I like this movie a lot.
Same.
I like all of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies to varying degrees. I think this is probably in the top half of his filmography for me. To give you a little rundown, I don't know how familiar you are, even though I made you watch a couple of them. Boogie Nights is one of his.
Yeah.
Let me just go from start to finish.
Sure.
So there's Hard Eight, which is like his first independent movie he made. It stars John C. Reilly, Philip Baker Hall, and Sam Jackson's also in it.
Classic.
And it's about like gambling in, I think it's Reno. It's decent, not great. Like it's not bad. It's just like a guy's first movie. It's a guy's first movie. Then after that, he does Boogie Nights.
Big.
I think we've watched that together.
We did watch it together. I don't think I watched like the first quarter.
Yeah,
I think I jumped
watched
in when
parts.
you'd already started.
And then Olivia tried to watch that with me, and it was too much because she's jumped in at the 80s section, which is rough.
Yeah.
Boogie
and
Nights,
it's worth saying that she was also not entirely sober, so that combination
it was not good, and I completely understand.
Yeah.
But Boogie Nights is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
Then he does Magnolia, which I thought about doing for this month, but remembered, thankfully, it's 3 hours long.
Nice.
And I really like Magnolia. I think it's very weird and very fun and like crazy. There's an incredible Tom Cruise part in that movie.
Yeah.
Where he's like playing a alpha pickup guy, but in the 90s. And it's just incredible. Then there's Punch Drunk Love, which is like a couple years later. Magnolia is 99. This is, I think, 2002, 2004. I like this movie a lot. I think it's maybe his most underrated movie. Because then we get There Will Be Blood,
which is regarded as one of the best movies.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would say it's one of the greatest American movies of this century and maybe of all time.
Yeah.
And I think as time goes on, that'll only raise in estimation just because, like, as time passes, people are a little kinder to movies and, like, see more in them and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, it's like how there's a lot of movies that I watched when they came out and people were just like, wow, that was really good.
Yeah.
But now as time has passed, even just in my short-lived life,
yeah,
a lot of those movies have since become classics.
Interesting.
Like the one I think of, for some reason, the one that comes to mind is Inception, where that movie came out and people were like, man, this movie's really good. But now people talk about Inception like it's...
Yeah, but they're wrong about that.
You don't like Inception?
I think Interstellar is a better point.
Sure.
Because Interstellar...
Yeah. Which, by the way, definitely going to get Interstellar on the pod for my month, I think. Because I've not seen it.
A good person we should bring on for Interstellar is Jacob. He fucking loves that movie.
Interesting.
So if we ever do that, we should get him.
Okay.
But he does There Will Be Blood, which is like maybe his best movie. Then after that, he does The Master. Have you ever seen The Master?
No.
It's essentially about Scientology. It's Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman. And throughout this time, he's developing like a roster of actors. So he's got John C. Reilly, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Luis Guzman is in a lot of his movies. Philip Baker Hall is in a lot of his movies. And then, like, after There Will Be Blood, he also works with Daniel Day-Lewis again.
Yeah.
But here's his...
For the greatest film of all time, The Phantom Thread.
Which, do you like The Phantom Thread?
I've never seen The Phantom Thread.
A lot of people also really like The Phantom Thread.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I like to joke that I love The Phantom Thread. But I think the joke is only funny to me because I've not seen it, because people actually like The Phantom Thread.
Well, when you say something like, oh, the greatest film of all time, Phantom Thread... You're just saying a statement. That's not really a joke in any way.
Well, that's why I say it's just for me, because for some reason I just find the idea of the Phantom Thread funny.
Do you know what the idea is, though?
No.
It's one of those
movies know that he's
where
like
a
fashion designer.
I guess he's like a old-fashioned dressmaker.
Like seamstress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was one of those movies where I saw it and I was like, is this some dog shit horror movie where they like weave a curse into a dress and then
what?
Because I think it came out when we were like 16 or something.
Yeah.
So I saw the Phantom Thread and I was like, what is this from fucking the fuck is this? Anyway,
wasn't it Daniel Day-Lewis's last movie, Phantom Thread?
It might have been his most recent one. I don't know if it'll end up being his last one.
I just remember around Oscar time, people were like, here are the kind of front runners for awards, but we can never forget about Daniel Day-Lewis because this is... People were acting like it was kind of like his farewell movie.
I guess he did say he was retiring, and it seems like this is his last movie on his IMDb, but also, like, who fucking knows? Like, he might be in something else. He went Lincoln, then Phantom Thread, and his last credit is Phantom Thread deleted scenes for The Hungry Boy.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. Cool. But he does The Master, which I think is maybe one of his best movies.
Yeah.
He's got like...
Paul Thomas Anderson.
I keep saying this, and I'm going to say this about Phantom Thread as well, that it's one of his best movies. But Boogie Nights, I would say Boogie Nights, Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood, The Master, and Phantom Thread are one of his best movies. But that's 5 of the 9 movies he's made.
Wait, Phantom Thread is also Paul Thomas Anderson?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But so he makes The Master, then he makes Inherent Vice, which is like a weird kind of detective movie with Joaquin Phoenix that has some really fun parts, and I think would be very fun if we were like absolutely baked.
Nice.
But it's not like one of his masterworks.
Sure.
And then Phantom Thread, then Licorice Pizza, which came out recently, which has the Haim girl in it, and Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, I think Cooper Hoffman. Not his best work.
And is it Skylar Gisondo?
He's also in it. Yeah. Not his best work, but it's a good movie.
Sure.
And then he's got a movie coming up in 2025 with Leo DiCaprio as the lead.
Whoa.
Who was initially cast as Dirk Diggler, or one of the people that he wanted for Dirk Diggler
in Boogie Nights.
Anyway, I've gone too long on this. Punch Drunk Love is his 4th movie, and he was basically like, I want it to be less than $30 million and 90 minutes long, because he just made a massive 3-hour epic.
Yeah.
So that's what he did. He was just like, what story can I make that is gonna fit into 90 minutes, and who can I get that's like I want to work with? So he was like, okay, Sandler, we're gonna get Sandler because Paul Thomas Anderson loves the Sandler movies.
Well, I was going to ask, but I didn't want to interrupt the Paul Thomas Anderson part of it. But how close was this movie to Sandler's other stuff and like SNL stuff and other movies?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, where is it in relation in the Sandler timeline?
So this is after SNL.
Yeah.
After Big Daddy, but before Little Nicky. So it's like before Grown Ups, before more of the stuff that we grew up with him doing.
It was before Sandler was like really Sandler, and
it's
it
like
was when this is like prime Sandler.
Basically, yeah. It's like kind of after Billy Madison, after Happy Gilmore, after those big ones, after Anger Management, which is a movie that I love.
Is this his first real foray into like some? Not that this is a drama, because it's not really a drama, but it's not a comedy.
Oh, it's after Little Nicky. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
It's his first like dramatic role.
Okay.
And there's a lot of interviews with Sandler being like, I didn't think I could do this, and I don't know why he's asking me to do this. Like, I don't know why he came to talk to me, because I'm not the guy that does this. But also, Sandler went to Juilliard and is like a very well trained actor. He just kind of acts dumb, like he just likes to act
he just
funny and
is himself
silly
all,
more.
Yeah. He's but like,
yeah.
which, since we're on Sandler, he's so good in the movie.
He's so good in this movie, and almost anytime he kind of ventures into this area, like there were a couple other movies that he's in, like Uncut Gems is a big one. Spanglish is less slapsticky, maybe one of my least favorite movies of all time, but I think he's like decent in it.
Okay.
Dude, I might actually pick that for the best worst month, because that movie fucking sucks. Nice. And I no ill will to anyone, but I hate that
sometimes
movie.
things suck.
Funny People, the Judd Apatow comedy. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's like a little bit more of a serious thing where he's like a stand-up comic that's got cancer, and it's like very about the Sandler milieu. What is that word? I don't know. You don't know French. You don't know anything. No. There's like the Mirowitz stories, and also maybe his best performance is Hubert Dubert in Hubie Halloween.
Correct.
Which is a movie that I think both of us love.
Both of us love is definitely a bold statement. Both of us have seen, for sure. So here's the thing. We finished the movie, my second time watching, Olivia's first time watching it, and I was like, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I think Adam Sandler is better in this than he is in Uncut Gems.
I think that's fair. There's a lot, but
it's completely different.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just like his performance in this more. And I like the movie more.
He's got a lot of little ticks in this movie, and little like there's a lot of business, as the actors say. Mm-hmm. Where he's just like he touches his ear when he's on the phone and he's like anxious, or he's like moving around, or he'll walk or run weird.
Yeah.
Whereas with Uncut Gems, it's a very like, first of all, it was shocking because that was 15 years after this. And he's doing like a whole accent, and he's like embodying a person, whereas this is like Sandler with a bunch of ticks.
Yeah.
So I think this is an incredible performance, and maybe one of his best, aside from, again, Hubie Halloween.
Sure.
But I don't think that's a super hot take that this performance might be better than Uncut Gems. I think Uncut Gems is just a little like,
it's a lot more in your face good performance than this is.
And I think the movie is also just more in your face too.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie is like a subdued drama about an anxious man that doesn't really have a ton of like plot momentum.
No.
Even though there's a lot of momentum in the film, it's like what is the movie about?
It's a lot of character momentum. It's really just it's just what's the character's name? Barry Egan. It's literally just you following Barry trying so hard to exist. And having such a hard time.
It's not like he has to get a package somewhere, or like get money for someone, or do something.
No.
It's like, I'm really sad.
I'm really
and I
sad.
don't know what to do.
I'm really lonely. No one in my life like truly cares for me.
And the one time he tries to reach out, he gets screwed by some Mormons.
Yeah.
I think they're Mormons, or supposed to be Mormons. This is Utah.
Sure.
I love this movie. And I think as I've grown older, I've grown to appreciate it a little more, because it's like, we're not going to disclose too much.
Sure.
But the character is very much like both of us.
So fun
in
fact,
a lot of ways.
I won't once again won't disclose too much. But when we were watching like literally like 15 minutes into the movie, maybe less, Olivia was like, I completely understand why Calder connects to this movie so much. And I was like, yeah.
Wait, what was it?
No, it's just the fact that like there's
just joking.
something I know. But there's something about you completely understand him and seeing how people treat him, especially the people who are supposed to be his closest,
like his 7 sisters.
yeah, his closest confidants and like the people who are supposed to be caring for him and looking out for him. They just, the way they treat him, the way they talk to him, the way they talk about him to each other. It's just, it very, very quickly gets you angry on his behalf a little bit. 'Cause you're just like, leave this man alone. Like,
But
he's
then
just trying to live.
Then you also realize he like is a kind of a bad guy.
But he's not even a bad guy, at least to me. I don't think, like, I get almost no vibes that he's a bad guy. I just, like, him smashing shit.
I think he's just got problems.
Yeah. Well, but, like, I look at it and I'm like, I love how they lay it out as we see him in the beginning and we just see his, like, quirks with like he's on the phone and then he goes outside his storage unit and sips some coffee, then he goes back in, does a phone call, walks out, sips his coffee, and like he has all these like little quirks, and then like we have him go to this family event and everyone's like, remember when we used to call you gay boy and you threw a hammer through the window? And like at that point in the movie you're kind of like, that what? That does not seem like the Barry that I know thus far into the movie. Like,
he just seems like a quiet guy.
Yeah, so it's like the idea that he would lose it and throw a hammer through the window is like interesting. But then we see how he's treated. And that, so then, at least to me, then when he smashes the window again, and then everyone's like, oh, fucking Barry, what the hell are you doing, you idiot? I'm like, I get why he smashed the window.
Yeah.
Like, there's never a point where I feel like he is doing something, like, with malicious intent. Even when he's yelling at his sister, being like, give me the fucking phone number, I'll fucking kill you. Yeah. Even then, I'm like, kind of justified. Like, he's been...
Well, yeah, because his sisters suck.
Yeah.
All of his sisters suck somehow. There's 7 sisters, and they all fucking suck.
Yeah, they're all horrible.
And somehow they all look the same, too.
Yeah.
Which is kind of surprising.
Well, I think in the credits, it said... I'm not sure about the sisters, but I know the brothers...
Are all actual
brothers?
That's kind of funny.
But, yeah, he's just a very... It's very easy to empathize with him.
It's just one of those things where it's like, he has no tools to deal with his everyday life at all.
And so, even when he reaches out, because he reaches out with the phone number, where he's like, I need to talk to someone, and he explicitly states that he just wants to talk and then is coerced into talking about sex and then is called a pervert and punished
unlike
for it.
The sex line at the start of the movie.
Yeah.
Just to give some context.
Yeah. So there's that, where he is just trying to fix his loneliness problem. He's not trying to exploit anyone or anything. He's just trying to talk to someone, and it turns around and bites him in the ass. And then he blows up at the family gathering, and then goes to one of his sister's husbands. That was first. I'm not going timeline-wise. I'm just listing random things.
Okay.
But, like, in that, he's like, I have a problem. Goes to his sister's husband and is like, I think I might need to see a counselor or something. I don't know what to do. And even that bites him in the ass, because then guy tells his wife, and then the sisters make fun of him for it.
But there's a line in there where it's like, I get why I like this movie so much when I was watching it, but now I have like the self-awareness to like realize why. Yeah. When he's like talking to the brother-in-law and he's like, I don't know if there's anything wrong because I don't know how other people are.
It's a great
Where you're just kind of like, yeah, that's so true. Like, how the fuck is he supposed to know that he's not supposed to just like be filled with anger and bottled with rage all the time?
Yeah.
Just on the tipping point, at any point he could explode.
Yeah.
When it's like, he doesn't know if Emily Watson is feeling the same way.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, just to transition into that. Like, he's so reluctant to meet her, so reluctant to engage with her.
Yeah.
And it's not until she actually kind of like individually, without his sister, shows interest that he's like, okay, I'll go to dinner with you. But even then, he like is very hesitant. He doesn't really. He kind of assumes, especially since she knows his sister. He kind of just assumes that she's like his sisters, and it's not until she actively shows interests in the things that he's interested in, like asking about the pudding and the piano, that he's like, wait, this person actually is asking because they care.
Yeah.
They're actually interested in me. They care about my well-being rather than just like... Because all the sisters, even when they're doing things that are allegedly because they care about him and are looking out for him, it's not really.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of...
It's like the
meant to
bickering over,
embarrass
is he going to
him.
go to the party?
Yeah.
Is he going to ask this girl out? Is he going to do this?
It's kind of
this?
dictating his life and then
Yeah.
judging him for it and criticizing him for it and just putting a spotlight on him, which is kind of the last thing he wants. So it's not until this woman is like, what's the pudding about?
Yeah.
And not in a way it's like, what's with the pudding? Why are you collecting pudding? Why are you doing that? She doesn't ask why. She's just truly curious. Like, I guess
like,
she
why is
is
there so much pudding here?
Yeah, but it's not an
It's not like,
accusatory why.
what are you doing with the pudding, idiot? It's like, what are
Exactly.
you doing with the pudding?
And that's when he finally is like, okay, you can't tell anyone. And like tells her about like, oh, if you buy these products, you get
Which was a
air
real thing,
miles,
by the way.
which is crazy.
That actually happened.
It's crazy. But like,
You can get
he's
a
like,
million frequent flyer miles for $3,000 of pudding.
Yeah, nuts. But like, he's explaining this to her because it's finally someone who he can talk to about it. And then unfortunately, she then is like, follows that up with, your sisters told me a story about you throwing a hammer through glass.
Yeah.
But she is asking because she finds that story interesting.
Yeah.
Because he's been
like very
conditioned.
ashamed of that.
Yeah, because he's been conditioned by his sisters, he assumes that like that's an embarrassing story. That's bad. Great. I don't want her to know that.
Yeah.
So then that's when he goes into the bathroom and fucks it up.
Well, he's like, when he meets her, he's like always on the defense.
Yeah.
Of like, you know, I didn't actually do this and I didn't throw this through the thing and I'm not gay like my sisters, like whatever.
Yeah,
right?
don't
He's
listen to
always
anything my
trying to
sisters
like
say, yeah.
disprove something, even though she doesn't bring it up. She might not even know about that. He's just saying things that he thinks she might be thinking. But then it's only really for me when they're in Hawaii and laying on the bed and he's like, I want to smash your face in right now. And then she like one-ups him where he's like,
Where she's like, I'm going to scoop your eyeballs out and eat them.
yeah, where it's like, oh, we're in this together. We're both kind of weird. And she's not going to be like, I'm going to call the fucking police on you. It's like, no, she can like go back and forth with him and not think he's going to actually kill her or like not judge him for like what he's saying.
She's the first person that understands that he doesn't want to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
And he's not like fucked up. He just is different. And a lot of people don't understand him. So to finally find someone that understands him and genuinely cares about him is, I mean, it's just a journey to get to that point.
I think the underrated character in this movie is Luis Guzman.
I agree.
Because he is kind of all those things that Emily Watson is, except Barry's just not comfortable with that because he is his boss and also he's another dude. So he can't like, I don't think he feels that he can talk to him about this stuff.
But he's certainly the closest thing he has to a friend.
Yeah. Where he's just like, what's with the pudding, Barry? Like, again, not in like a, what are you doing, idiot? It's just like, Barry, why do we have 19,000 cups of pudding in our warehouse?
And at first he's kind of just like, I don't know. Like he says, I don't know to a lot of things when he
Obviously
kind of
does
is on
know.
the defense and doesn't really know. But then later he eventually is like, it's the frequent flyer miles or whatever. And then Luis Guzman's character's like, okay.
You gonna go on a trip?
Yeah, you go on a trip. And the fact that when Barry is freaking out because he's being hunted by these like sex phone line people, and he's like, I'm going to Hawaii, and Luis Guzman's like, you're going to Hawaii? That's amazing. And he's so excited for him. Meanwhile, Barry's like, oh, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out. And the fact that they're on work time and Barry's like, you got to come with me and buy all this pudding.
Yeah.
He's like, okay.
Which the only thing I find unrealistic is that Barry has somehow become the head of a business, like developed this novelty plunger business.
Yeah.
We're just like, would a man that's this anxious and broken be able to start a business that's seemingly successful?
Well, I am curious about the timeline because it starts with him just in the storage locker by himself. Does it then do a time jump to...
No, I think he's already got the business going.
It's just a different...
I don't think it's even a different day. I think he just makes a call and does his morning routine.
No, I mean, it's a different unit, a different storage unit, I guess.
It's when it's the first garage door, but it's like that corner.
Oh, it's the same desk that Luis Guzman
When
falls
the chair
in the
breaks.
chair in. Okay.
Yeah, it's that desk.
I understand.
But like that's the only thing where I'm like, are we sure that Barry could do this?
But the thing is, he's like very clearly a smart guy.
Yeah.
Like he very much thinks about things.
And I guess he is good with arbitrage in terms of the points and stuff and like seeing opportunities.
Yeah, he's just bad at managing,
talking to people and making relationships.
Yeah.
I love when he is demonstrating the plungers for those like I guess clients, and he's like, this is our new unbreakable handle where you can hit it on anything and it won't break, and then he slams it and he's like, I guess that's one of the older ones. Can you find one of the new ones, please? And then he goes to answer the call from his sister, and she's like, are you coming to the fucking party, idiot?
Yeah.
But I just love that Barry's like, he's very funny. Like this movie is very funny.
It is,
which
very
I do
funny.
love.
It's very endearing as well, and it's very wholesome, but it's also very stressful. It's it's a very emotional movie. Not in the fact that it's like, I feel like usually when people say a movie's emotional, it's because it's like, bring a tissue. Mm-hmm. It's like, maybe there's a moment or two in here that's like that, but for the most part, it's emotional because there are a lot of emotions.
Yeah, and the music is just like,
the music's so
it's
good.
kind of like the Shiva Baby music, where it's like, it gets
contributes
you on
to the
edge.
moment perfectly. Yeah.
It like, you could probably put that over like anything, and you'd feel weird about watching it.
Yeah.
Someone we haven't mentioned yet, who I think is like, well, possibly one of the best actors of all time. Philip Seymour Hoffman's in this movie. He plays the Mattress King. I don't know what his actual character's name is.
Me neither.
But he runs a mattress shop. In the back, they do sex phone calls where they scam people, and the brothers hunt them down for money.
Yeah.
But the way he plays this extreme character is just incredible. And the way that Philip Seymour Hoffman is able to pull off these like just mental characters where they're screaming and yelling and it not feel like stupid or like some sort of sketch.
Comparing this character to his character in Big Lebowski is like night and day.
Oh, even within the Paul Thomas Anderson filmography, where it's like in the first one, he's playing a little gay kid who's trying to get in on the porn sets, and he's just like super quiet and obsessed with Dirk. And then in Hard 8, he's like, I think his character's name is Young Craps Player.
Nice.
Where he's kind of like this, but he's like throwing dice and screaming and like celebrating and like talking shit to people. And then in Magnolia, he plays like what's it called when you have a nurse come to your house? Do you know? Anyway,
I can't believe
it's like
I'm
he's like a home care nurse for this TV billionaire guy, and he's just very quiet and very anxious and like kind of close to the secretary in Big Lebowski. But like the range that he has without any of it feeling like caricature or like a sketch is just incredible, because he's like yelling into the phone like, fuck you, fuck me, fuck you, fuck you, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. And then what does he say? He's like, the last thing he says to Barry on the phone is, that wasn't good, you're dead, and then just hangs up.
Yeah.
Like that's something I would say to you while I was high out of my mind.
Well, he says something like, because what does Barry say to him? He says like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna kill you.
He's like, did you just say you're gonna fucking kill me? And then it's just quiet, and Barry's like, yep. And he's like, that wasn't good.
You're dead.
You're dead. Hang up.
And then the next
So
time we
good.
see him, he's getting his hair cut by the phone sex lady, and Barry's just standing in the doorway
Yeah.
with the receiver in his hand, which I think is just very funny and adds to like how surreal the movie is in general.
But also, like, Olivia and I both got the vibe. She said it, and I was thinking it, and I was like, I'm glad you said it, because I was thinking the same thing. Where it's like, if Philip Seymour Hoffman did not cooperate, Barry was going to beat him to death.
Yeah,
with
I think
the
he was
phone.
gonna kill him.
Yeah, with the phone specifically, though.
Yeah.
It's like, that feels like why it was there.
Mhm.
And I just love the interaction where he's like, you came all the way from LA to tell me this, and he's like, yep, and they just stare at each other so close for a while, and then he's like, okay,
And then Barry's like, that's that.
yeah,
And then Philip Seymour Hoffman's like, that's that. And then Barry leaves. And Philip Seymour Hoffman's like, you better stay the fuck out of here. And he's like, I gave you a fucking warning. And then he goes, that's that, and walks away. And
Yeah.
Barry's like, okay, I guess I'll leave too.
yeah,
It's just like a hilarious interaction where it's just like Barry's idiosyncrasies are so like intense, where it's like that is the programming for him to just end program and move on to the next thing.
yeah, and
It's the line of code.
I kind of love that Barry gets in over his head, but like Philip Seymour Hoffman and like the mattress and sex line people like don't realize that this is the wrong guy
Yeah.
to like get one over on, because like Barry just immediately is like, no, you scammed me, but like I am in control here
Yeah.
because I'll kill you.
Barry's a force of nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie is just so, it's just such a good and like fun and quick little piece of art. It's beautiful. I love the colors throughout it, where it's like all kind of tinted blue. Barry's in blue, she's in red, Lena's in red,
Yeah.
and it's just like,
And they do these like color splotch kind
Yeah.
of transitions that
like light
feel
leaking kind of.
well, they look kind of like the Spotify wrapped like this is your vibe things.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
But like I think the reason it looks like that is because that's like a very common like way to visualize emotions.
Yeah.
Is to just do these like colors like waves and all this stuff. And I think that it's really effective to kind of
Like separate
leave you
the
in the
parts.
tone
Yeah.
while doing a bit of a transition, which is pretty cool.
But yeah, just the fact that like he's in this weird blue suit throughout the whole movie is just hilarious.
And everyone's making fun. Everyone's like, why are you wearing that suit? And he keeps saying, I don't know, but I'm like, he's a boss.
Well, also to Luis Guzman, he's like, why you got a suit on? And he's like, I thought I would dress up for work today. And he's like, why? And he's like, well, I thought I'd dress up for work today.
Yeah.
Where it's like, that's his answer. That's the answer he's got.
Yeah.
I do love that this movie is like a little surreal though. Like there's a couple points where it brings you into it, where it's like, first of all, the opening car crash.
Yeah.
We're just kind of like, what the fuck happened there? And then they drop the piano, and it's like, okay, next day, piano's
Yeah.
still there. The car crash debris still there. So that did actually happen. But like, why did that happen? What does that have to do with anything? What's going on?
Yeah.
And then there's the other parts where it's like he's running through the apartment trying to find where she is, and it's like he's in a labyrinth. He doesn't know where he's going.
Which the thing is, all of these things are very surreal, but they're also very relatable at the same time.
Yeah.
Like that hallway thing, I'm like, the amount, like I get it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for sure.
and I really relate to him saying bye bye and then walking away and be like, bye bye, fucking idiot.
I love that.
And I'm like, I've done that exact thing like 500 times in my life.
I also love the fact that he just shows up in Utah with a phone in his hand,
Yeah.
and it's like there's no way they explain, like he doesn't even step out of a taxi.
No.
Just like, did he Forrest Gump run there?
He just got there, man. He just went there.
There's like the stuff in Hawaii where he's like in the middle of this parade and he's like trying to make this phone call, and it's all crazy
Way too
shit's
loud.
going on.
Then there's the car crash where the mattress boys
Yeah.
hit his car when she's also in the car.
Yeah.
And they spin out, and she's like bleeding from the head, has to be taken to the hospital. But he gets out with a crowbar.
He doesn't have the crowbar.
Or right, he goes at one of the guys with the crowbar
and just takes him down like he's
it.
fucking Liam Neeson.
Yeah, he went full John Wick mode.
Yeah.
But he doesn't hit the last guy. He just gives him the crowbar back and then leaves. And like brings her to the hospital. She's in like not great shape, and that's kind of when he very clearly decides like, because something I loved is that he kind of finds he's a very lonely person and doesn't really have a lot of purpose aside from his business. He's growing, but he finds meaning in a lot of these kind of meaningless things. Like he finds meaning in collecting these pudding cups, because he even says he's not going to travel. He doesn't travel.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to travel.
anything.
He doesn't want to use them. But he just can't pass up on it.
Yeah.
So he finds meaning in collecting these pudding cups to get frequent flyer miles. He finds meaning in this random piano that he doesn't even know how to play.
It's an
audio is broken.
Is it an audio phone? Is that what they call it?
Something else.
It doesn't matter.
But like he finds meaning in all these things that like are kind of obscure and don't really mean anything by themselves, but they mean something to him just because they give him they give him something to focus on and a bit of an escape.
Yeah.
It's not until he finds someone that truly loves him and cares about him, not the idea of him.
Yeah.
That like all of a sudden it clicks for him and he's like, this is what I care about now.
Yeah.
And that's when he's like, I'm going to make sure that this
You never get
person
hurt
can
again.
never get hurt again.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that means that he leaves her in the hospital so that he can go from LA to Utah and then back. And then he's like, she's not here anymore.
Yeah.
And obviously she's a bit
Utah
upset / frustrated.
Yeah.
But like she also very clearly understands, because she understands him and cares about him. So she knows that he did not leave her in the hospital because he doesn't care about her.
Yeah.
He left her in the hospital because he does care about her. It was a stupid decision, but like, and the fact that he's like, I promise you, if you just give me 6 to 8 weeks, I can get all the flyer miles I need, and I will follow you wherever you go. And it's like so many of the things he says on their own could be construed as like creepy or weird, but Adam Sandler's delivery and kind of just what we know of him as a character make it, you know that it's coming from an honest and pure place.
But also like their energies match, right? It's not like she's like some fully normal person who's like she's got a bit of creepy stuff too, where she's like, I saw a picture of you and then I wanted to like come by and meet you. So that's why I dropped my car off the first day. Where it's like she's weird too. She's got her own stuff going on. Where it's like it makes it so that they match together. Like they're a good match to make the perfect purple when you mix their clothing together on the floor. I think there's also like that ending reminded me of this thing I heard in like some YouTube videos where it's talking about how a lot of dudes are taught how to be people by like the women in their life when they get older as opposed to when they're younger. And Barry is like, when she says you can't do that when he leaves her in the hospital, it's like her teaching him like you can't do that. Like he didn't know that you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Because he could have. I think a normal person might have. I shouldn't say normal, but like a different person might have stayed there and then gone to Utah when she was okay. Yeah. Right? But he doesn't know that you shouldn't do that. But in his mind, he's like, I have to immediately make sure that this will never happen again. And just, I think him growing up with sisters, I assume there's not a huge presence from his, this is all me like reading into the character, but like it doesn't seem like there's a huge presence with his parents or dad. Well, it's even just the fact that not even specifically with, what's the main character's name again? Barry? Or sorry, the main girl's name. Lena. It's not even just with Lena. It is mostly with Lena. But with everybody, he is instinctively on the defense. Mm-hmm. He's always apologizing. Yeah. He's saying like, I don't know. And in some
extreme instances he gets really angry.
Yeah.
But that's all learned from how he has been taught to respond to his sisters, because he's grown up with his sisters and they're constantly questioning him, attacking him, like just making him question himself, criticizing him,
making fun of him,
being condescending, and just like being too much to him, really. And that kind of sets him up for how he interacts with everyone. Yeah. So
like he needs to learn how to live and how to be alive,
he has to,
and
like,
how to
relearn. Yeah. Because he's been taught to be scared and to be angry and to keep to himself. So yeah, it's not until Lena comes that he's like, oh, that this is how you live with someone and with people, because he's been living kind of by himself.
And it kind of just, I've observed that happens a lot with dudes, where like they're fine, whatever, but then you get in a relationship and you're like, oh, so I can't just kind of not be like mentally around or available, or like I have to talk about how I'm feeling, or like, well, there's like so many other things to being alive instead of just like, I'm here now and this is what I'm doing now, and now I do this, and maybe I'll do this thing later. Whereas like there's this whole emotional world that a lot of guys aren't given access to, I guess. Yeah. When they're younger, or taught how to access when they're younger. Yeah. It's a thing of like, guys tend to not seek it out either, but it's also because, speaking as experience as a man. Okay, let's be a little conservative. Okay. As a boy. Yep. There it is. But like, I didn't know to look for that. And if it's okay for me to say, I honestly think that I'm someone who throughout my life has been more emotionally aware and had a higher emotional intelligence than a lot of my like male who are you talking about
and peers. Just everybody. Not
everybody. Think you're better than everyone?
No. Because I think that I fall short in... Can you let me fucking finish? Like, I think I fall short in a lot of other areas, but I feel like my emotional intelligence has always kind of been a bit higher than most of the boys around me. Mm-hmm. But even then, there's like still a barrier that was just taught. And not taught by anyone necessarily. It's just kind of the societal norm, the status quo, like... These things that are kind of impressed on us. But like there's things, this is a weird example, but I watched a video where Ian and Anthony from Smosh were talking about their reunion and getting back together and mending their friendship. And both of them talked about how like talking to the women in their lives really helped them to come into their own emotionally and mentally, and how that kind of opened up their eyes. The same has happened with iDubbbz, another YouTuber who was like, until I had or was with my current partner, I just truly did not consider these things. And I do think that that's a very, very common thing. I've seen it with, like I said, people online. I've seen it with people in my actual life. I've seen it with myself. Like, it's just a very common thing. And also, I think it's just a lot of guys just don't realize there might be a problem. Well, right? It's this weird thing where they don't have the emotional intelligence to realize that there is so much value in being emotionally intelligent. So it's like, it's kind of a stun lock until somebody like kind of coaxes you into learning more, and then you're like, holy shit, there's so much here. And that's why I'm so kind of shocked about this movie coming out in like, was it 2002, 2004, where it's just like such an early time for there to be a movie about an anxious man who doesn't know how to convey his emotions to people. And is like reaching out for help, and like not gonna kill himself, but seriously depressed because he has no one in his life. Whereas like a lot of movies wouldn't be that vulnerable. And also Sandler, maybe the biggest comedy star at the time, is playing the lead role in this movie. Now here's the thing, doesn't do very well at all.
I think it cost 30 million, made 25.
Hmm.
And none of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies really make all that much money, but they are like
Good.
among the best that you can watch.
Yeah. Well, I wonder how many people watch this movie and are like, about Barry as a character, are like, he's a weird. Like, what a weird guy.
I think Hillary kind of felt that, where she was like, what's happening? Like, what is this? Why is he like this?
But that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people would watch it and just be like, why is he behaving this way? What a weirdo. But like myself, Olivia, I gather you, and like also I'm sure many other people would watch this, and I honestly think he's one of the more relatable characters I've seen in a movie. Like, it just in the way it's like he is like me, but with no social understanding, and no
he's
filter.
got like no filter.
Yeah. Which like it's kind of refreshing to see someone reacting this way, because my initial reaction is, you shouldn't be reacting this way, but my immediate next reaction is, right? Like,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, I completely get why you're reacting this way.
But I
So-
also think it's valid to like see him and be like, what? This guy is weird. Like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Because like, he does not act like a healthy person acts.
No.
So like,
Because he doesn't have any of the coping mechanisms or any sort of understanding of how to manage his emotions.
he doesn't even have like a vice. Like, it's not like he even like smokes or drinks or
No.
like does anything.
Well,
He's
his
just,
vice is these weird, obscure, like,
I guess, the pudding?
hyperfixations.
Yeah.
The pudding and the piano, and yeah, like those are his vices in a way, until he finds love and understanding, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I mean, he still is playing the piano at the end, which is really sweet, and he's actually playing something, which is kind of nice. But like, yeah.
I think one of the best Sandler performance pieces in this movie, and then we'll kind of get into wrapping up, because I kind of want this to be a bit of a shorter.
Sure.
Is the phone call with the sex hotline. And it's all in one shot, from when he picks up the phone to dial to like the end. But he gives such a good performance where he's like
Checking the door.
walking around, checking the door, right?
Pacing in the kitchen.
And then he's like being asked to give this information, and he's like, okay, credit card, obviously, I need to pay for this. I guess billing address, that's fine. And then she asks for social security number, and he's like, you can see him like wait and like pause and be like, oh, okay. And then she convinces him, and he's like, okay, he does it. And then she keeps like trying to make him start doing something sexual when he's like just pacing
he just
around,
wants to talk.
which is exactly how
Every time I'm ever on the phone, I'm walking the full surface area of my apartment.
And just like the way he plays it so naturally, where
I love when he sits down on the chair sideways. That's a little too close to the table. And it's like, dude, just pull the chair out a little bit. But he's just sitting there and does not move until he's off of hold, no, because he's waiting for the phone call. So he just literally sits there until the phone rings in this tiny space.
what's the name that he gives her to call
Mark,
him?
I think, or no, Jack.
So when he picks it up, he goes, I think he says, hi, this is back, because he's about to say Barry.
Yeah.
Or something like that, where he like mixes the two names together, and you're like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Weird.
Which he also does at the party, where he mixes up a word, and then his sister makes fun of him for it, and he's like, it's fine. But which is a great highlight, because like, people mess up words all the time. It just is a thing that happens.
Time? I was trying to make fun of you for messing up a word.
Oh, okay, thanks. But like, it's rare that unless it's like really close friends, it just feels weird. Like, she's not even going, oh, you messed up a word, LOL.
It's more like,
it's
idiot.
like did you just say that?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah.
Did you say?
Oops.
Did you just say you were food?
Yeah, that was good,
Yeah.
because he was saying I'm good,
And then
he said,
her
"I'm
husband's
food."
like, well, maybe you're hungry. and you
He's
just
like-
want some food. And Barry's like, I mean, well, maybe.
Yeah. But like the fact that the response is like, did you just say your food?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's aggressive and angry and accusatory all the time. Anyway, that's kind of a side note. But yeah, the scene of him on the phone, I didn't take many notes for this movie either.
I can tell. I can see it on your screen.
Yeah. But like one of them was that it's all in the little things that he does.
Yeah.
That really tie it together.
Yeah.
And that's being seen specifically, but also in the whole movie.
It just brings the performance together, much like the utility thermos does in Hubie Halloween.
Yeah.
Another great just line or little like interaction is when the manager of the restaurant pulls him aside and he's like, "Sir, did you just destroy this bathroom?" And Bear's like,
No.
"I did not. No, I've never been in that bathroom before in my life." He's just fully lying. And the manager's like, "I think you destroyed this bathroom." And then it basically ends with him being like, "I'm going to need you to get the fuck out or I'm going to crack your fucking head."
Yeah.
And Bear's just like, "Okay."
And then he goes to Lena and is like,
I don't like this place.
we should leave. I don't like it here. But like to that, I feel like that's just him having an emotional outburst and just probably not actually, but I think in a way, same with when he smashes the window at his sister's. In a way, I think he kind of just like blacks out for those.
Yeah.
Where he's just letting his emotions out and then he finds himself in a situation where he has to explain himself.
Yeah.
Which I think I'd like to think changes over the movie. The last time he does it is when
With the mattress guy?
yeah. When he's but it's even more tame, you know.
And
it's
that's
more
also
understandable,
conscious, right?
Yeah.
That's not like, that's like, I need to do this for this to happen. The other ones are like, I'm just going to smash this shit right now.
Oh yeah, the first two are him letting his emotions out. Him like beating the guys up and then going to the mattress store. That is him being like, I am doing this for this reason. Yeah, I agree.
Now, let's see if I have anything else. Do you have anything else?
Yes. Just a quote from Olivia that I think sums up my thoughts on the movie as well. I think that it's really great. She said that this movie is Joker for safe men, is what she said.
Like the guys that are watching it are safe?
Well, like, yeah, where
Okay.
like when people watch Joker and they're like, that's literally so me.
Yeah, they're dangerous.
And they're like fucked up incels.
Yeah.
It's like safe men watch this and they're like, that's so me.
Yeah,
Is
that
what
makes
she thinks.
sense.
So I thought that was a fun quote.
I've got a couple questions here. This is kind of a new segment I'm trying it, where I ask you some questions.
Sure, yeah. We've not done this one before.
Go to Hawaii?
I'd love to go to Hawaii. I don't think soon, because I'm pretty sure they're telling people they actively don't want people coming to Hawaii.
That might just be Maui, though.
I think it's predominantly
Most of it?
Hawaii. And maybe Honolulu as well. But I think it's also just Hawaii in general a little bit.
I think people are kind of being like, okay, let's calm down. We're not going to put the lay on you as soon as you get off the airport. Let's relax.
Yeah.
And also, weird for them to do the shows. I went to Hawaii when I was younger. I always find it weird when people are dancing, unless it's like a band, when they're like dancing and doing shit in front of you.
Yeah, it does feel like it's very much going over and like checking out this quote unquote weird culture and like
but it's not even it.
Well, that's the thing. It's a theatrical version of their culture, which I think is a big reason why so many people.
It's like going
Hawaii,
to Pioneer Village or something, where you're just getting like the absolute base level of what it is, so that they can sell it to you.
Exactly, which I think is why so many Hawaiians are like, "Don't come here," because they're like, "You're just coming here to take up our space and take up our time and kind of exploit our culture in a way." And
now, do you think though? Let me get your opinion on this.
Sure.
Did Bill Gates shoot Maui with a laser from space?
I don't know.
That's what they're saying on Facebook. My ears to the ground.
Okay. I thought you meant Maui as in the character from Moana, The Rock.
Maybe that's a problem too. Should we be having 3 Moana movies come out within 10 years? No. One of them live action?
Here's the thing. I saw Moana live action was coming out, and I'm like, literally could not be less interested, and that's as someone who loves Moana. Saw Moana 2's coming out. I'm like, the trailer was absolutely nothing.
It's like a little teaser, right?
Yeah, but I'm excited for that one just because
I'm kind of more of a Lilo and Stitch guy.
That's fair.
If we're talking Hawaii, we're talking Lilo and Stitch. And I've been me bitches,
dude. Literally the last like 15 times Olivia and I have been on Disney Plus, like looking for what to watch. I've been like Lilo and Stitch. She said no. I think
she's
I've only
not
seen
of that
the movie
generation,
like twice,
man.
and not in like 12 years. Crazy.
No place I'd rather be than on a road.
You want to hear my Stitch impression?
Yeah. That's good, actually. Pudding?
Pudding.
The name Barry.
I like the name Barry. I like a Barry. I like a Jerry. I like a Gary. I like a Terry.
Now here's the real question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have Barry be the short for something else, like Bertrude? What is Barry usually short for? I think Barry. Really?
Maybe.
That's disgusting.
I like the name Bartholomew.
Yeah, but you're a freak, and you're like, in terms of your kid
Your
naming,
name's Calder.
Yeah, I know. I didn't pick it. In terms of the kid naming thing that you kind of have, you're kind of like, when a kid's like, I'm gonna name my kid Borthophilus, and you're like, no, you're not, fucker. Shut the fuck up.
I'm not naming my kid Borthophilus.
You might though, and that's what's scary to me.
What is Barry short for? I think Bartholomew's one.
Let me look it up.
Barnyard.
I love a name that can be shortened.
I feel like most people have that.
Bartholomew, Barton, Barrington, and Barclay.
Oh, Barclay is interesting. Barrington is
I kind of like Barrington.
Barrington's pretty
But
cool.
I would never name someone that because that's just bad.
That sounds too much like a Victorian last name to be a 2020s first name.
Well, it's also kind of like Paddington.
Yeah.
And if I was named Paddington these days, I'd be getting a lot of gaff for it. That fucking bear, man. That piece of shit. What are your thoughts on Sandler?
I'm generally neutral on Adam Sandler.
You're not much of a Sandler guy. I don't know how many of the movies you've seen. I've made you watch a fair amount of them.
I've seen Happy Gilmore. I've seen Bedtime Stories. I've seen Grown Ups 1 and 2. I've seen Hubie Halloween.
Click?
I've seen Punch Drunk Love. I've seen Click. Olivia thought that I should have, for this movie, I should have watched Click instead and then started the podcast with you being like, so what'd you think of the movie? And me be like, I feel like it was really interesting, but it really changed once you got the remote. But that
you didn't have to watch Click to do that joke.
I know. I'm realizing now that I don't think she actually meant for me to watch Click. I think she just wanted me to do that joke, and I missed it. So,
dude, the joke being like, actually, I didn't watch the movie this week is not a good joke. But the joke being, I think we're doing this movie this week is a good joke.
Yeah.
So maybe
Olivia's funnier than me.
Maybe next week we'll have Olivia on the podcast.
And I will be absent.
An absentee father. But you've watched a handful of the Sandlers. You've seen the Grown Ups.
Yeah.
You've seen part of Hubie Halloween.
Whole thing. We
watched the whole thing. Let's fucking go.
Well, you fell asleep.
Uncut Gems?
I've seen Uncut Gems.
Okay. That's like, those are kind of the Sandler essentials. Have you seen?
I haven't seen, what's the hockey golf?
That's Happy Gilmore.
Oh, I haven't seen Happy Gilmore. I
thought we watched Happy Gilmore together. Billy Madison?
I've seen Billy Madison.
Mr. Deeds?
No.
Big Daddy? No. Anger Management? Anger Management I think you'd like.
Maybe I've seen Anger Management.
It's with Jack Nicholson. Nicholson?
I have not seen Anger Management then.
Little Nicky? Where he's the son of the devil? You wanted me to wrap it up?
Did you like how quick and aggressive that was?
It was just it was wide. You could, you went
Here's the thing. I knew that regardless
shoulder.
of what I did, you'd acknowledge that I made a signal to wrap it up, so I figured I'd make it big. But we also don't need to wrap it up. I just know you said you wanted it to be a quick episode.
I'm going to keep it short because you're You told me you'd beat the shit out of me if it was
Not
over
true.
an hour and
Not
10
true at all.
minutes.
Literally not true at all.
I think Sandler is one of the better movie stars that we have, older movie stars. Because, like, I think he's still trying to pick interesting projects. He's got this movie called Spaceman coming out soon, which is like a sci-fi drama. I think he wants to do another movie with the Safdies. I don't know how that'll go because one of them kind of wants to act more, so there's no longer a brother duo. And like he still does his like Netflix kind of dog shit, like murder mystery and all that stuff. But it's kind of like he's doing that for the money, but then he's still trying to make interesting things,
which a lot of actors do. I mostly feel like there was just a period of time post like 90s 2000s Sandler. I'm getting these I'm so bad with dates and
just
times.
Tell me what you're trying to say and I'll try to correct
but
it.
Like he had his run of classic comedies and then he kind of had a run of bad ones. And I think that's kind of what a lot of what our generation thinks of him as is these more modern bad ones.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a like bad, like he picked not great projects for a bit. Yeah. But like I don't think that is reflective of his talent as an actor.
Yeah. I think that's a fair assessment because at a point he was just kind of making movies to go on trips with his friends.
Yeah.
And if you at some point in your life can make $100 million to like
do the exact same thing,
kind of act in a movie, go for it, brother.
Yeah.
Apparently Spaceman's out right now.
Oh.
And apparently it came out a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
That's weird. It's got a little bit of rough reviews, but I'll still give it a watch. Yeah, after this movie, he gets into a rough patch and then kind of comes back with Grown Ups in terms of like kids watching his movies and stuff like that.
Which is crazy because when you watch Grown Ups, you're like, how are any of these jokes hitting with kids?
But I loved Grown Ups when I was a kid.
Same.
And also he's in Hotel Transylvania, which is like a sneaky big franchise.
Yes, it's sneaky big. When I realized there's 4 movies and like a TV show.
Yeah.
Insane.
So I like Sandler.
What was I gonna say?
Pixels?
Oh, yeah. That as well. Bedtime Stories was my favorite Sandler movie for a while.
It was a good one.
I liked it when
I had it on my iPod Touch, so I watched it a lot.
Nice.
Jack and Jill. I think we should maybe do that on the podcast. There is some gold in there, like the Dunkachino.
That might be good for dog shit.
Yeah, but then we're gonna have too many options for dogs.
You know what I'm tempted to do?
What?
We can discuss this off pod, but a part of me is wondering if instead of doing another best and worst month, we just did a bad month.
We could. We'll figure it out,
but we'll see.
I think that's fine. Because we are tending to pick good movies when we get the chance.
It's true.
So, where would you like Adam Driver in this movie?
Honestly, as we've said this before, but I'll say it again. I feel like when we recast a part, we're not saying that the person playing that role did a bad job. Mm-hmm. In fact, usually they did a great job.
Yeah.
But I think that I'd love to see him in Philip Seymour Hoffman's role.
Brother, we're on a fucking roll. That's exactly what I was thinking too.
Well, just because like I have, especially the yelling, like he'd kill that. Mm-hmm.
And it's like not a very like big role too, so he can put everything he wants into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Sick.
Maybe we should add another category.
What?
Where would you put Solomon from Iowa Debris' SNL sketch in there?
I wouldn't cast that little boy in anything.
Psychic! Why did you make me tell my class I was bi? Yeah. Dude, that's such a good sketch. If you haven't seen that, you should look it up.
Yeah,
Solomon.
look up the Iowa Debris Solomon sketch. We
or
weren't able to find
sketch.
it on YouTube, but
it's on TikTok.
we were able to find it on TikTok.
You can put anything on TikTok and no one fucking cares. It's like international waters.
It's kind of incredible, actually.
Where do you want to put this, brother? I'm either going to be shocked or disappointed. I don't think there's a number you can say where I'll like it. Not to say,
and I'm going personal here,
not
right?
to give you pressure.
I'm going personal
you
here,
want,
right?
okay.
I'm going personal here, right?
Yeah, sure. Maybe. We'll see.
Can I give you a range? I'm allowed to give you a range?
You can do whatever the fuck you... Brother, I don't care.
I kind of want to put it...
Oh, baby. A triple? A double?
between...
A grand salami? Take out the rye bread and mustard. That's a grand salami.
Between 9 and 14.
Between 9 and 14. So that's between 7 and Surf's Up, which includes The Big Lebowski, Step Brothers, and Black Klansman in that order.
Yeah.
Oh, and Alien.
I don't know if I love the idea of putting it above A New Hope, but also I feel like I'm very confident about putting it above like Step Brothers and even Big Lebowski a little bit.
Now, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
You landed more on my disappointed side.
Really?
Yeah. I was thinking maybe
I thought that was going to
in-
make you happy that I put it that high.
I was thinking below Incredibles.
Okay. That's not far off from the
No.
top end of my thing.
I mean, every time I pick a movie, even though I know it's not going to happen, I do hope you say, I think that we should put this number 1.
Which might happen at some point.
No, it'll happen. I'll make sure.
I mean, I guess it happened with Waves.
Yeah. That's just the waves. Waves. I probably shouldn't sing Kanye.
Waves up, I feel waves.
Blue cheese. Yeah, I'm addicted to blue cheese.
Olivia and I do this thing. I hope she's not upset at me for exposing this. Olivia and I do this thing where we'll sing
6 listeners.
along to songs in the car or just in the apartment, but we'll replace words with poop.
That's sick.
And it's I'm not even joking. It is always funny. And Olivia's better at doing it than me. So sometimes I just listen and I love it. Anyway.
I tend to like freestyle off a song.
Nice.
Where I'll like hear something and be like, and then just be like, poopy. Like I'll just go with the beat and then just say something stupid and he's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Hey, I do the same thing, man.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I do actually that Olivia
I'm still emotionally
hates is
unavailable.
when I beatbox.
Yeah,
She
I hate when
hates it.
I kind of hate when your mouth moves in general. Where did we land here?
No, I'm not allowed to move my mouth apparently. So
Well, you just talked to me, so I already broke it.
Fudge, oh fudge,
Hey,
chocolate
brother.
fudge.
I know you went to ventriloquist school for 7 years, but you're still dog shit.
I'm not even gonna deny that. Just 'cause that's more funny.
And then
So you were thinking below Incredibles.
yeah.
I was thinking like in the Alien area, right?
Mhm.
Would you be down to put it right below A New Hope? Above 7 and Alien, below A New Hope.
Now
and
here's
Dune?
the thing that I don't think you're thinking about is that A New Hope's sneaky bad.
Nope, not really.
I don't know.
You could.
I'm thinking.
You know what? I'm willing to put it below Dune 1, above A New Hope, but that's as high as I'm willing
I
to
didn't
do
even
it.
have to do anything.
No,
there.
because I just thought about it a bit. Like I like A New Hope more, but like I do really, especially on a second watch, I do really love this movie, and specifically I love the character of Barry Egan. And I think more people should watch this movie.
Yeah, and usually, as we've seen, when we rank a movie high, people flock to it. People are watching this show.
You know what? I'm gonna
listening to
give you the
this
whole
show.
thing. We're putting it right below Incredibles.
Oh my
actually.
god! I'm like maybe the best negotiator alive.
I'm just like I. The more I think about it, the more I really like this movie a lot.
I'm the man of the house.
I do
I don't know
truly
what that
think though
means.
that Incredibles is kind of the cutoff for like this is the like top tier good shit.
I think we're getting into like that's becoming a tier.
Yeah. Punch Drunk Love I think is kind of the top of the next tier.
Oh, I got a little poopy on your screen there.
Do I?
Adam, you just looked up diarrhea? I thought you were typing in the name of the movie.
I'm typing in
Oh
Punch
my
Drunk
God.
Love actually.
Bloody cum-filled diarrhea. That's...
Ew, dude. Why would
You looked it up!
Why would you put that in anyone's mind? That
You
visual?
looked it up. Thank you for listening.
Punch Drunk Love sitting at 7 on our list. You're doing good this month so far.
Well, I got a lot of shots at the Uterus?
What the font? What the font? But yeah, we've got Punch Drunk Love at 7, above Dune 1.
Wow.
Which is kind of
Take
insane.
that, Paul.
And below The Incredibles.
Yep. Dash is still his daddy. Thank you everybody for listening. Please.
And Helen is my mommy.
Adam, do I need to tell them about the little
we've mentioned it in listen
not
to the Incredibles
that,
episode. Listen
the
to
little mysterious toy I found when I broke your bed today.
You did break my bed. Calder broke my bed. It wasn't his fault.
And
but he
guess
did break
what was
my bed?
solely propping up the mattress? An Elastigirl fleshlight. Thank you for listening. This was our episode on Punch Drunk Love. If you could follow and maybe leave a comment, tell us what you think about Barry Egan. If you think he's maybe a beta.
Don't do that.
Amazing. Dude. Thank you for listening. And that's that.
Yeah, I'm good.
Hello. Welcome to Screen Share, a movie podcast about...
Okay, now, but now do this.
Oh, no, it's good.
Okay.
You know? You could sync it on my moan. You don't need to do whatever the fuck you're doing right now.
Ready?